Just ahead on CTV News, we share travel tips for the holiday weekend, from the streets to the skies. Plus, a new policy at the fire department following a former firefighter's arrest. And lawmakers passed the president's tax bill last night. We unpack what it all means. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for May 22nd. I'm Katara Jones.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, Memorial Day weekend is finally upon us, and millions of Americans will be traveling to celebrate the kickoff of summer.
And whether you're traveling by train, plane, or automobile, it's always good to plan ahead. Mariah Jalad is on our soon-to-be traffic jam highways with some tips for beating the backup.
If you're hitting the road this Memorial Day weekend, you certainly won't be the only one. Nearly 40 million Americans are expected to travel over this holiday break. That's according to AAA, which says even with concerns about rising prices, people across the country say they're taking advantage of the long weekend to spend time with loved ones. And 87% of Memorial Day travelers choose road trips. Now, that does mean traffic congestion out of Maryland and the Washington metro area, especially toward the Eastern Shore beaches. So if you want to beat the backup, AAA recommends hitting the road during the morning hours. The worst travel times are going to be between noon and 8 p.m. on Friday and from 2 to 6 p.m. on Saturday. Also, keep in mind that Maryland State Police are reminding motorists to drive responsibly this weekend as they'll be increasing patrols. Troopers will conduct statewide DUI saturation patrols and high visibility enforcement. So while road trips may be the most popular travel method in the coming days, a fair share of people will be taking to the friendly skies. Noelle James is at BWI with some air-friendly travel tips.
That's right, Mariah. At BWI and nationwide, the skies are going to be busy as the TSA is expecting to screen up to 18 million people this weekend for Memorial Day travels. Although there's mixed reaction about safety concerns with the FAA.
Yeah, the FAA stuff, no, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. How about you?
I am.
Okay, tell me a bit more.
He flies for a living, so I worry about everything.
Air travel is still considered the safest travel option, and safety remains a priority for both travelers and airlines. The busiest days will be today, May 22nd, and next Wednesday, May 28th. So to help you get to your flight quicker, here's some tips. Pack smart. Make sure your carry-on bags are organized and follow TSA rules. Don't forget the 3-1-1 rule. Liquids less than 3.4 ounces need to fit in a 1-quart bag and only one bag per passenger. And probably the most important tip, bring your real ID. The TSA implemented the real ID requirement on May 7th. They report that 93% of travelers are real ID compliant. For those that aren't, bring a passport or other forms of valid ID with you. Expect additional screening if you fall in this category. So mind your luggage weight, plan your travel time to the airport, and most importantly, bring a valid form of ID. I'm Noelle James at BWI Airport for CTV News.
2 Hyattsville teenagers have been identified in the deadly New Jersey Turnpike crash early Sunday morning. The victims are 19-year-old Juan Carlos Munguia Palma and 14-year-old Dennis Burgos. The teens were on their way to New York along with 4 other passengers. The SUV they were in veered off the road into an embankment and then hit a tree. The 4 passengers were ejected from the vehicle. The driver, another 19-year-old from Hyattsville, along with the 3 other passengers, were taken to the hospital and are in stable condition.
And following the arrest of John Inman, a retired Prince George's County firefighter who was charged with rape and child abuse, Prince George's Fire Department announced it will be strengthening its safeguards for its youth programs, including the junior volunteer firefighters and high school cadets. Fire Chief Tiffany Green stated, quote, "We are committed to maintaining the highest standard of safety and accountability, especially for the young members who dedicate themselves to public service at an early age."
Governor Wes Moore continues to get pushback for vetoing the Reparations Commission bill. Reports show that some Maryland lawmakers are looking to override Moore's veto. All of this centers around Senate Bill 587, which would have established the Maryland Reparations Commission. The commission would have studied and made recommendations related to reparations for people who had ancestors that were enslaved here in Maryland. Just this week, advocates in support of the bill rallied outside the State House, voicing their frustration over the governor not signing the bill into law.
And Maryland's treasurer is saying, quote, "To hell with Moody's," after the bond rating agency downgraded the state's perfect credit rating. Treasurer Derek Davis implied at a recent Board of Public Works meeting that the state wouldn't use Moody's anymore. The rating determines how much interest the state and taxpayers will pay for money borrowed through bond sales. Maryland held a AAA rating from the three major agencies for decades until Moody's downgraded the state to AA1. Davis says Moody's is not the standard it once was and said many other states were moving away from the agency.
A familiar face drops his name into the Montgomery County executive race. At-large council member Will Jawando announced his campaign yesterday in Silver Spring. Jawando has the support of current county council executive Mark Elridge, who cannot run re-election again after serving his two-term limit. Jawando has been an at-large member on the county council since 2018. And in a vote that came down to the wire, the House has passed what President Trump calls his one big beautiful bill. After an all-night marathon on the House floor and defections from his own party, Speaker Mike Johnson emerged into a narrow win, 215 to 214. The razor-thin vote caps weeks of GOP infighting and marks a major milestone for the Trump administration.
We look forward to the Senate's timely consideration of this once-in-a-generation legislation. We stand ready to continue our work together to deliver on the one big beautiful bill, as President Trump named it himself. We're going to send that to his desk. We're going to get it there by Independence Day on July 4th, and we are going to celebrate a new golden age in America.
It's one big ugly bill. It's GOP tax scam. It's reckless Republican budget. It's an assault on the economy. It's an assault on health care. It's an assault on nutritional benefits. It's also an assault on tax fairness.
The bill now heads to the Senate, where Republicans are already signaling changes are coming, but the goal still remains get it to Trump's desk by July 4th. So what is actually in this one big beautiful bill? Let's break it all down. It extends Trump's tax cuts, ends taxes on tips and overtime, and boosts the child tax credit while phasing out clean energy breaks to cover the costs. It slashes $700 billion from Medicaid, $267 billion from SNAP, adds tougher work rules for benefits, and blocks Planned Parenthood funding. Now, there's money for mass deportations, the border wall, and a new missile defense system called the Golden Dome. And for babies born through 2028, a $1,000 government-backed Trump savings account. Migrants seeking asylum, new fees ahead. You're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Katara Jones. Coming up.
Dr. Johnny joins us today.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that the big homie needs help too. You can't just rebound from everything. I know you've been grinding.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. I wonder why we waited so long. I'm not wondering anymore. Love, your mind. Let's see how far we can go.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. This weekend, former President Joe Biden announced to the world that he has been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. Although the former president described his condition as currently manageable, his diagnosis has sparked a renewed discussion surrounding prostate cancer awareness. Joining us today in studio to talk about screenings, treatment, and answer some frequently asked questions is Dr. Dawood Dajani, prostate cancer specialist at the University of Maryland Capital Region Medical Center. Dr. Dajani, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So following the former president's announcement, we saw a spike of internet searches with questions of what does a prostate do and what happens when you do develop prostate cancer? Can you give our viewers just a brief overview of what this cancer entails, but also how does a prostate function within your body?
So the prostate is a gland that sits kind of, after your bladder. Its job is mostly to secrete the fluid, the ejaculate, the seminal fluid. The sperm comes from the testicle, but the fluid itself comes from the prostate, and that's its main job. As the prostate enlarges in size, it can cause some urinary symptoms and things like that. So prostate cancer is when a man gets cancer in this gland.
And so can you share with us maybe some of the early signs and symptoms of something that you could possibly have contracted or developed this type of cancer?
Sure. Actually, most of the cancer at first is silent. Some people refer to it as a silent killer because a lot of men don't have any signs and symptoms until it's fairly late in the disease, such as, for example, difficult urinating, blood in the urine sometimes. Most of the signs happen when the cancer becomes really aggressive and it spreads. For example, it can spread to the bones, it can cause a lot of bone pain, losing weight. That being said, not every man who has difficulty urinating or increased urinating that immediately should mean prostate cancer, because there are a lot of things that cause that, more commonly an enlarged prostate.
And so studies are showing that black men and also Hispanic men are not only at an increased, increased risk of contracting this type of cancer, but they're also at an increased risk of dying from this cancer once it is contracted. What are some of the factors that are influencing this statistic?
So, prostate cancer, for example, of 2024, 308,000 men were diagnosed with the disease in the United States and 35,000 deaths. Genetically, we know that African American men have more commonly the disease of prostate cancer, but not only that, more aggressively. They have, more aggressive phenotypes. It tends to run in families. There are certain genetic mutations that can sometimes be involved. So, when, for example, I see a patient who is African American, immediately the way I think of the prostate cancer and screening, and I'm definitely more aggressive in screening those patients and having these discussions with them.
Right, so early detection for this type of cancer is definitely at a premium.
Absolutely. So, the way we look at it, generally men should start thinking about prostate cancer screening in their 50s. However, when someone has risk factors, such as a family history or African-American ancestry, I would definitely start that conversation in the 40s, early in the 40s.
And so, as we know, technology continues to evolve in the 21st century. What are some of the newest developments within prostate cancer treatment, but also preventative measures that people can start to take as well?
So as far as prevention, sometimes there are things that are within our control and some things that are not. So, the genetic factors, the race, there's nothing you can do about that. It's just a higher risk. There have been some studies that show that, generally obesity and certain diets that are high, for example, in red meat or in dairy, can increase the risk of prostate cancer. So generally being healthy, eating healthy, exercising, all that can bring the number down. I think the most important thing is for people at an increased risk especially is to start the screening process early, which is at least, a visit with the primary care physician, a blood test that's called the PSA or the prostate-specific antigen to get that checked, and then start that process early enough.
Dr. Dejani, I want to talk about what happens when this type of cancer is left untreated. What are some of the things that happen within your body that can affect your quality of life, your sexual health, and even your urinary function?
Sure. So, prostate cancer, it comes in risks. There's low risk, medium risk, and high risk. And some low risk cancers can actually be observed for long period of time. The cancer, the idea that this is what we strive to do is to catch it early, especially if it's in an aggressive form, treat it early before someone gets to that point where it's affecting their bodily functions. Most of the effect on someone has when the disease is really, really aggressive, especially if it starts spreading to the bones, to the lymph nodes. The prostate itself can even, grow into the bladder, cause bleeding, urinary retention, difficulty urinating, things like that. All that is if it's left untreated. It can definitely happen. It can cause losing weight quickly, and it can be very uncomfortable. It can definitely decrease quality of life for patients.
Can you tell us about some of the resources that people can get to, whether it might be nationally or even right here in Maryland for families or even patients who have prostate cancer?
Sure. So, definitely I think primary care physicians are an excellent resource. They're all very well trained. They check, screening early, but of course us as urologists, we're also available. Here in Prince George's County, we at the University of Maryland Capital Region, we have a robust prostate cancer program. We have, like myself, surgeons. There are also radiation oncologists. There are medical oncologists. We have a full team that can offer support to patients. And even after treatment, we have a team that can help people with their quality of life, with the recovery, with everything. I mean, we have a full support here for that.
So we're going to let you go soon, but we do want to ask you, what is one thing that you want to leave our audience with from this about prostate cancer, but also maybe something to encourage our audience members to start getting regular checkups and screenings for prostate cancer?
Sure. As I said, I came to Prince George's County. I used to practice in Northern Virginia for about 7-8 years. And I think in 2 years here, I've seen way more advanced and way more aggressive cancer. So, I think the message is if you're someone, first of all, start at least the conversation in your 50s. If you're someone at a higher risk, such as, an African-American male or have family members, whether it's, siblings, cousins, dad, something like that, start the conversation even earlier in the 40s, because I think the best thing for this disease is to catch it early and treat it early. Not every cancer needs aggressive surgery or aggressive treatments like radiation, but some do. And people have the notion sometimes that if I get treatment for prostate cancer, I'm going to have all these, difficulties. I'm going to be, have difficulty with erections or leaking urine, and there's a lot of things that can be done to kind of fix that. So I definitely recommend early screening and early detection for that.
Dr. Dejani, thank you so much for joining us today in studio. And for more information about prostate screening and health, you can visit the Prostate Cancer Foundation website at pcf.org. Back to you at the news desk.
Lots of important information. Thanks so much, Bryce. And still to come on CTV News.
Memorial Day is this Monday, and if you're still struggling to make weekend plans, Brittany Aaliyah is back with another What's the Move?
Memorial Day is right around the corner, which means concerts, parades, and so much more. What's the Move is up next. Don't go anywhere.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Diversity is in our nature. It is in nature, too. Biodiversity. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk more than ever before, and the future of all life is in our hands. So what will you do? Love it or lose it?
It is so hot out today, but I'm about to get this hike in, and I just had to show you the view. Beautiful.
Yo, you should come out here. We came outside to unwind.
Oh, wow.
What's the laptop? Transmission.
We outside, come find us.
An Upper Marlboro man is sentenced to 1 year in federal prison and forced to pay a $20,000 fine for visa fraud. According to court documents, 55-year-old Douglas Easy illegally entered Canada in 1991 with a fraudulent passport. He was then deported and came back to the U.S. using a stolen Canadian citizen's name and identity. He became a U.S. citizen under the victim's identity and changed his last name to Easy. Easy used the identity to adopt and sponsor 2 children to move to the U.S.
Business owners looking to better leverage capital and technology made their way to Mitchellville today. This was all a part of the Prince George's Finance and Technology Forum. The event was made in collaboration with the Norman F. Holmes Foundation and New Dawn Marketing Group. The forum included panel discussions on how businesses can better utilize technology and access capital to grow their businesses. Organizers say this event is timely as the major banks were recently downgraded and many businesses are feeling the impact of high tariffs.
There are options, there are opportunities to partner. What we've really stressed this year is we really have to be collaborative, we have to find partners, and we're looking for a group of the willing to go outside of the normal scale of how business is done, because there's a new frontier in the federal government. There's a complete restructuring. So we have to be as dynamic as what's going on there in the private sector.
With many businesses losing their federal contracts, Holmes wants to encourage business owners to do deals with other businesses.
Orange, Blue, and Silver Line Metro riders, listen up. Memorial Day weekend will bring some changes to certain routes. Free shuttle buses will replace trains on the Orange Line between Cheverly and Eastern Market, and on the Blue and Silver Lines between Addison Road and Eastern Market. WMATA crews will be conducting repairs on the aerial structures over the Anacostia River. Normal weekday fares will be in effect on Monday.
All right, whether your favorite part of Memorial Day is the sales, the parties, or the 4-day weekend, there is so many events happening right here in the DMV.
That's right. And if you're staying local, Brittany Aaliyah is here with another segment of What's the Move to help get your weekend itinerary started.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Well, the unofficial start to the summer is almost here. And since it's Memorial Day weekend, everything is centered around the holiday on Monday. Let me get you caught up with some events happening around town, starting with a legendary evening, literally, tomorrow night. The Queen's 3 Legends One Stage is probably one of the biggest concerts I've ever mentioned on here. And the Queens being Chaka Khan, Gladys Knight, and Stephanie Mills. All 3 powerhouses are sharing the stage tomorrow night at CFG Bank Arena. Doors open at 7 p.m. Don't miss out on music history being made with these beautiful icons. And we're celebrating Memorial Day all weekend long with a lot of patriotic events. Now, if you're looking to get out of the house with the entire family, Bowie Memorial Day Parade is on Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Rain or shine, this annual event features marching bands, performing groups, floats, and local clubs and organizations. This is a fun way to remember and honor those who serve. Now, if you're going into the city on Sunday, PBS's annual concert on the West Lawn of the Capitol will also honor veterans, service members, and military families with speeches and musical performances. This year's lineup includes Grammy Award-winning singer Yolanda Adams, Emmy, Grammy, and Peabody Award-winning actor Blair Underwood, the National Symphony Orchestra, the U.S. Army Chorus, and more. 35 years they've been putting this on, guys. The concert is free, open to the public, and starts at 8 p.m. Lastly, for the holiday on Monday, the city is celebrating in a big way with their 20th annual National Memorial Day Parade, returning to Constitution Avenue in D.C. The parade begins at 2 p.m. and includes everything you will want to see in a parade. But the best part is the fact that you're attending the largest Memorial Day event in the country and celebrating our troops. So whether you're catching one of these concerts, enjoying the parades, or chilling at the pools and splash parks, which are also set to open this weekend, there's something to do for everyone to kick the summer off right. Happy early Memorial Day. Thank you to everyone who's given their lives to protect our freedom, and enjoy your holiday weekend.
Thanks so much. And still to come, Simon Buggs is here with our Thursday sports page.
That's right. What's going on in sports, Simon?
What's going on, sports fans? I'm here in College Park, where the new athletic director for the University of Maryland got introduced. And I'll have more what he had to say in a bit. Stay right there. You don't want to miss this.
Experience a golden era of music with Motown Explosion at the Bowie Center for Performing Arts. Sunday, June 8th. Doors open at 2 p.m. For tickets, visit bowiecenter.org or call 301-805-6880.
What's going on, everybody? It's time for your Thursday sports page. Now it's an exciting time over at the University of Maryland as a new era of turf sports is underway. Dozens gather at the hotel at UMD as the school's new athletic director was introduced. James Smith was tapped to fill the position after the departure of the school's previous athletic director, Damon Evans. Smith was previously with the Atlanta Braves, serving as Senior Vice President of Business Strategy before coming to College Park. Smith spoke earlier today and is committed to transforming Maryland athletics into the best that it can be.
As the Barry P. Gossett Director of Athletics, I'm going to focus on excellence across our enterprise. We are going to be good university partners. We've already got a sports management program underway with the Smith School of Business. There's more to do. I want to make Maryland athletics an essential and integral part of the University of Maryland. We're going to be good Big Ten colleagues. Commissioner Petiti, we're going to do our part to continue to position the conference as the best in the nation.
Smith will assume his role on July 15th. Meanwhile, a big storyline going into the 2025 NFL season is how my Washington Commanders are going to build off of their stellar 2024 season. The Burgundy and Gold made it all the way to the NFC Championship game for the first time since the 1991 season, thanks in large part to Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels. Fans will not only see what the team does on the field in 2025, but also behind the scenes as well, as it was announced that Washington, along with other teams from the NFC East, will be featured on the in-season version of the hit HBO series Hard Knocks. This is the first time the Commanders have been a part of Hard Knocks. The show will debut in December. Man, my team on Hard Knocks is definitely a dream come true. In WNBA news, the Washington Mystics suffered their first loss of the season last night to the Golden State Valkyries, 76-74. The team is now 2-1 on the season and will face off next against Aja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And wrapping up sports, the Baltimore Orioles snapped their losing streak last night as they won against the Milwaukee Brewers 8-4. Their next opponent will be the Boston Red Sox tonight at 6:45. And that wraps up your Thursday sports page. From College Park, Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
All right, Simon, thanks so much. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.